While the Western world was paralyzed by trading halts and margin increases, a sinister event was unfolding in the shadows of the global logistics system. The noise from trading floors often distracts us from the reality of loading dock. While you were staring at a frozen screen with a buy button that wouldn't work, physical metal was walking out the door. We have received corroborated reports from port authorities and logistics experts in both New York and London that the volume of precious metals moved in the last 48 hours exceeds anything seen since World War II. This was not a trickle, it was a flood. The precious metals banks, realizing they could no longer suppress paper prices without bankrupting themselves, decided to liquidate physical assets to the highest bidder before official default, and that bidder was not American. The vaults at JFK and Heathrow are echoing with emptiness this morning. The metal did not evaporate, it emigrated. To understand why this happened, we need to examine the arbitrage differential that has widened to historic proportions. In the last 3 days, silver on the Shanghai Gold Exchange has been trading at a premium of nearly 18% above the comic spot price. In the world of high-frequency finance, an 18% risk-free profit is infinite money. It acts like a gravitational black hole. Why would a refinery in Switzerland sell a silver bar to a bank in New York for $67 when they can sell exactly the same bar to a buyer in Shanghai for $80? They would not. The laws of economics dictate that capital flows to where it is treated best. China created a price vacuum, and it sucked every floating supply of silver out of the Western financial system in less than 1 week. The West tried to manipulate the price down. China used that low price to drain the inventory. It was a geopolitical judo move. Official data is starting to leak and confirms our worst fears. Comic inventory is divided into categories: eligible silver stored in the vault but privately owned, and registered silver available for delivery as contracts require. As of the latest update, the registered category has collapsed to a terrifying 0-point level. There are now over 600 paper claims for every single physical ounce of silver remaining in the registered category. This is not a market. It is a crime scene. The fractional reserve banking system applied to precious metals has mathematically failed. If even a fraction of contract holders stand for delivery today, the exchange will be forced to declare default. The cupboard is bare. The emperor has no silver. Why is China doing this, and why now? This is not a trade for them. It is a strategic maneuver for survival. The Chinese Communist Party knows that conflict over Taiwan or the South China Sea is becoming inevitable. Modern warfare is resource-intensive. You cannot build a hypersonic missile, guidance chip, fighter jet, or drone swarm without massive amounts of silver. It is the most conductive metal on Earth. By cornering the global supply, China is not just protecting its wealth, it is choking the U.S. military-industrial complex. They are ensuring that when conflict starts, the West will face critical shortage of raw materials needed to build weapons. This is economic warfare disguised as commodity trading. Beyond military applications, China's industrial hunger is voracious. The Belt and Road Initiative is the largest infrastructure project in human history, and it is powered by green energy. Solar panels, 5G towers, and electric vehicles all require silver. China already controls refining capacity for rare earth metals. Now they have seized the silver. They looked at geological data. They saw that global mining production is falling while demand explodes. They realized that whoever holds physical metal controls the 21st century. They are not buying silver to sell it back to us later at profit. They are buying it to consume it. Once this silver enters the Chinese mainland, it disappears from the global market forever. For years, analysts have suspected that the London Bullion Market Association has been lying about stockpiles. They use a system of unallocated accounts which allows them to lease the same bar of silver to 10 different clients. It is a Ponzi scheme. Chinese buyers, however, do not buy unallocated. They demand allocated, segregated, and delivered. When China showed up with billions of dollars in cash and demanded immediate physical delivery, the London Bullion Market Association's accounting tricks fell apart. We are hearing rumors of soft default in London, where major institutional clients are being offered cash premiums to not take delivery. But China refused the cash. They took the metal and, in doing so, exposed the fraud of the Western banking system. This silver heist is a symptom of much larger disease: the death of the U.S. dollar as world reserve currency. For 50 years, the world held dollars to buy oil. But now Saudi Arabia is selling oil for yuan. The BRICS nations are building new currency backed by gold and commodities. China is dumping its U.S. Treasury bonds, which are losing value due to inflation, and using that dying paper currency to buy hard assets. They are trading our debt for our wealth. They are exiting the dollar system before it collapses and taking tangible assets with them. When the dust settles, the West will have piles of printed paper, and the East will have resources that run the modern world. The impact of this drain will be felt in your daily life very soon. The global solar industry relies on cheap, abundant silver. The Green New Deal and net zero targets of Western governments are mathematically impossible without silver. With China now hoarding supply, Western solar manufacturers face existential crisis. Factories in Germany and the U.S. will likely face shutdowns due to raw material shortages. The price of solar panels will skyrocket, making green energy unaffordable. We have legislated transition to technology that we no longer have ingredients to build. We have handed the keys to our energy future to our primary geopolitical rival. The shortage is trickling down to retail level with frightening speed. The U.S. Mint has been canceling allocations to dealers. The Royal Canadian Mint is on backorder. Private refiners are reporting delays of weeks or months. This is not a bottleneck, it is depletion. The premiums on physical coins have decoupled from spot price. You might see silver at $75 on screen, but try to buy an American Eagle for less than $100. You cannot. The real price is being discovered in the streets, not on screens. The physical market is screaming that paper price is a lie. China is the biggest whale, but not the only one. Russia, cut off from Western financial system by sanctions, has been quietly accumulating precious metals to sanction-proof its economy. India, the world's largest cultural consumer of silver, has seen imports explode in 2024 and 2025. The Indian population treats silver as savings account. As the rupee weakens and inflation bites, hundreds of millions of Indians are converting savings into silver anklets and bars. This grassroots demand, combined with China's state demand, has overwhelmed the West's paper supply. The East understands the value of real money. The West has forgotten it. We must ask the hard question. How did our leaders let this happen? How did regulators allow the strategic silver stockpile of the United States to be sold off to China? The answer is incompetence and greed. The bullion banks were allowed to suppress price for decades to mask inflation. They kept silver cheap to make the dollar look strong, but cheap silver meant foreigners could buy it for pennies on the dollar. Our leaders sacrificed strategic reserves to maintain illusion of strong currency. They sold the family silver to pay the credit card bill. And now the bill is due and the silver is gone. Given the state of vaults, declaration of force majeure by the comics is now a question of when, not if. Force majeure is a legal clause that frees parties from liability when unforeseeable event prevents them from fulfilling contract. They will claim silver shortage is act of God or supply chain disruption. They will settle your contract in cash at rigged price. This will be the moment the paper market officially dies. When they refuse to deliver metal, the price of contract goes to zero and price of physical metal goes to infinity. We are days away from this bifurcation. For banks holding the bag, the nightmare has just begun. JP Morgan and swap dealers are short billions of ounces. Now that physical metal is in China. They cannot buy it back to cover positions. They are naked short in market with no liquidity. This is recipe for infinite losses. The Federal Reserve will likely have to step in and bail out bullion banks to prevent systemic collapse. This bailout will involve printing trillions of new dollars, which will only drive price of hard assets even higher. They are trapped in doom loop of their own creation. As news of Chinese drain spreads, industrial panic buying will begin. Companies like Apple, Samsung, and Tesla employ smart people. They see the data. They know supply chain is breaking. They will stop buying just in time and start buying just in case. They will attempt to stockpile years' worth of silver to keep factories running. When multi-billion-dollar tech companies start panic buying scarce resource, the price chart goes vertical. We will see moves of $10 or $20 in single day. Industrial users will bid price up to whatever level is necessary to survive. For 5 years, this channel has warned you to get your silver out of banking system. We told you that if you do not hold it, you do not own it. Today, that warning is no longer prediction, it is reality. If you have unallocated silver in bank account, it is gone. It was likely leased to bank that sold it to China. You own claim on bankrupt entity. The window to convert digital currency into physical wealth has effectively slammed shut. The inventory is gone. The ships have sailed. We are witnessing birth of new monetary standard. The period of fiat currency 1971 to 2025 is ending. The period of resource-backed currency is beginning. In this new world, nations will be ranked not by how much debt they can issue, but by how much gold, silver, oil, and land they control. China understands this. That is why they drained the vaults. They are positioning themselves to write rules of next global financial system. The West, holding nothing but debt and paper derivatives, will be forced to accept terms dictated by holders of metal. When general public realizes their money is losing value and banks are empty, social unrest is inevitable. We saw trading halts yesterday. Next, we will see withdrawal limits, then capital controls. Government will try to lock you into dying system. The silver market is just canary in coal mine. Loss of silver is signal that entire financial structure is hollow. Panic that started in commodities pits will spill over into streets. This event marks final transfer of wealth. It is moving from impatient to patient, from paper believers to metal holders, from west to east. Those who hold physical silver today are new nobility. They hold only asset that has no counterparty risk and is essential for future of technology. The banks tried to steal your wealth by suppressing price, but in doing so, they handed greatest investment opportunity in history to those who were paying attention. We are entering phase of unobtainium. You will see price on screen, maybe $80, maybe $100, but you will not be able to buy at that price. Dealers will be sold out, mints will be closed, peer-to-peer market will be only market. You will have to find someone willing to part with their metal, and they will demand king's ransom. This is what hyperinflation looks like. It is not just high prices, it is empty shelves. The silver is not expensive. The dollar is worthless. The vaults are drained. The ships are crossing the Pacific. The game of musical chairs is over, and the West has lost its seat. China has executed perfect economic checkmate without firing a single shot. They took the silver and left us with debt. The great silver exit is complete. If you are holding physical metal, hold it tight. It is your shield. If you are not, pray the system holds together a little longer.